My name is Arohi and today I'll be explaining aggregate functions, namely max, min, average, sum, count and count asterisk. So first let's look at what are aggregate functions. So MySQL's aggregate functions are used to perform calculations on multiple values and return the result in a single value like the average of all the values, the sum of all the values, or the maximum and minimum value among a group of values. So these are the 5 functions. Max. So this function returns the maximum value from a given column, and it can be useful when we need to find the maximum number, selecting the most expensive product, or getting the largest salary or bonus from our table. Now let's look at some of the example of max. Here we have a table name EMP and 2 columns, name and salary. We have 4 rows in each and the names and respective salaries. The code is select max salary as maximum salary from EMP. So select max salary. Salary is the column name and we are using as, which is an alias, and maximum salary to give the alias name from table name, which is EMP. So after you run this in MySQL, you will get the output as 70,000. This is because out of all these 4 values, the maximum value or the greatest number is 70,000. Min, standing for minimum. This function returns the minimum value from a given column, and it is used to return the minimum value from a set of values, and it is useful to find the smallest number or selecting the least expensive product from the table. Looking at the example, we have the same table with the names and respective salaries. We have the code select min salary as minimum salary from EMP. So from the column name salary, we are going to select the minimum, which is the least amount, as minimum salary from table name EMP. Here we get the output as 30,000 because out of all the 4 numbers, 30,000 is the least, and that is why it is the minimum salary. The third function we have is average or AVG. This function computes the average of given data. We have the same table name here with names and the respective salaries. So the code will go as select average salary as AVG salary from EMP. So here we are specifying salary, which is the column name, as average salary, which is the alias name from table name EMP. As you know, average is the sum of all the values divided by the number of values. So here you can see that the values are 60,000, 45,000, 30,000 and 70,000. After adding all of them, you get a number 205,000. And when you divide it by 4, which is the number of values, you get the number 51,250, which is the average salary and the output. The fourth function is sum. As you know, sum is the addition of all the values. So this function returns the sum of values of a given column. Here the salary is the column name and alias is total salary from table name. So sum is by adding all of them. So when you add 60,000, 45,000, 30,000 and 70,000, you'll get the number 205,000. Here we have the count function. So the count function counts the number of rows in a given column, and it is different from count asterisk. The unique feature is that count doesn't include the null values. Let's look at the table EMP. The name and age are the column names, and we have 4 rows here. Nick, age 21, Sam, 34, George, null, and Jatin, 4. By looking at this, you can tell that there are 4 rows of Nick, Sam, George, and Jatin. And when we run this code, select count age from EMP. So count is the aggregate function, age is the column name, and from table name EMP. Here the output will be 3 because the computer doesn't count null as a row when you use the function count, and there's nothing in the bracket. As you can see, it does not include the null values, so it will count only Nick, Sam and Jatin, so the output is 3. Moving on to asterisk or star. If you specify the asterisk, then it returns all the rows, including the duplicate and the null values. We have taken the same table and run the output, but we have put a asterisk here. And after putting that, we can see that the output is 4. And this is because we have included the null value here, which is Nick, Sam, George and Jatin. So the only difference between count and count asterisk is that count asterisk returns all the rows even if it is null or duplicate. Thank you.